If you clicked on this video, you probably have felt like being an empath or being a highly sensitive person is holding you back in life. But actually, you were born with a rare superpower among people. Hola, my beautiful lotus flowers. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today we're talking all about living your life as an empath or a highly sensitive person. And if you're not quite sure between the differentiation, I will be discussing that in a moment. But basically the point of this video is to show you how you can embrace your life as an empath or as a highly sensitive person. And this is coming from myself because I asked you guys on Instagram. I took a poll on how many of you would want to hear a video on my advice living life as a sensitive person, and the response spoke for itself. You guys really wanted to see it, so here we are. If you want to know how to embrace your life as an empath and create the life you want using your empathic superpowers, then keep watching the video. First off, I want to clarify the difference between an empath and a highly sensitive person, also known as HSP. So all my life I thought that I was an empath, but actually what I am is a highly sensitive person. And even though they'll encounter a lot of the same type of issues or same type of obstacles in their lives, there is a very significant differentiation between the two. So basically an empath is somebody who can actually feel and soak up and take on their emotional environment. If they're in a room that is full of angry people, they will feel that anger and take it on themselves in their own way. And this makes it very hard for them to be out in public places around people that they don't trust, because they will take on their emotional environment and it can become very overwhelming, leading to, struggles with anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. Whereas a highly sensitive person is more physical rather than emotional. So a highly sensitive person is somebody who can experience sensory overload in their environment. Their physical senses, their nerves actually get easily overloaded. These are the type of people that a lot of loud noise at once can overwhelm them quickly and cause them to lash out, cause them to cry, have anxiety, panic attacks, something like that, because they are literally being physically overloaded. And a lot of times the highly sensitive person is, a bit more introverted because of that. Whereas, neither of these, if you identify as these, neither of them are necessarily extroverted or introverted. It's just that they both tend to naturally pull towards being introverted just to avoid those scenarios that I just described. Now let's go over my 3 primary pieces of advice for you if you identify as an empath or a highly sensitive person. These are pieces of advice that I have curated for you. I try to condense it into just 3 main pieces of advice, but your experience as an empath or a highly sensitive person may be very different from mine, but this is just from my personal experience, from everything I experienced growing up, now being 27 years old. This is the advice that I have curated for you. So let's dive in. Number 1, take plenty of time to yourself, but not too much time to yourself. I know how that sounds. You're like,
what the heck? You just contradicted yourself.
So let me explain to you what I mean by taking time to yourself, but not too much. Whatever you need to do to catch your breath and recollect yourself, even if it's just 15 minutes to yourself, it is absolutely necessary if you identify as an empath or an HSP. However, we need to be able to recognize when we are taking necessary time for ourselves and when we're actually beginning to hide from the world. There's a fine line between the two, because if you identify as empath or HSP, then you know the difference, and I 100% have hidden from the world. I'm guilty of this, so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to admit if you're guilty of this too, because a lot of us are, where, we think that we're taking care of ourselves by doing that, but it actually does more harm than good if you start to become just a straight hermit that doesn't go outside and never interacts with people. And here's why.
And we beat him. And I hit a foul, dude. It was sweet.
She's awesome.
You gotta videotape it next time so I can see.
Buddy, just come with us.
No.
It's not that scary, and you could use a little sun, trust me.
Outside bad. The sun's scary. It's not my friend. He wants to hurt me. Safer.
The more that we distance ourselves from certain experiences, especially as an empath or HSP, then the more that we actually struggle to return to those experiences because we have built them up as being much scarier than they are in our minds. If any of you have ever experienced this, then you know what I'm talking about. And I have experienced this many times. There was a long time period, not that long ago, where I actually didn't have a car for like over a year. And before that, you know, I was driving a car for years and I had so much driving practice. I had driven in LA because I lived in LA for a while. I had driven all different types of cities. I had done so much Ubering in that car. Like I did so much in that car, so much driving, so much intense driving too. And I didn't feel fearful. But then my car started to have issues because it was very old. Started to have issues, and those issues, first off, made me more scared of driving because I never experienced, you know, the car stalling in the road and things like that until my car got too old. But then when I went that whole like year and a half or so, however long it was, without a car before I got myself a new one, I became more fearful of driving. Like I realized when I got behind the wheel of my new car that I had randomly grown timid behind the wheel when I never was. And that was because I hadn't driven myself around for so long. I had been getting driven around by somebody else, and I, without even thinking about it, I unconsciously became more fearful of driving. And this is what I mean. As an empath or HSP, we're even more likely to experience this built up, pent up fear towards experiences that we have distanced ourselves from. So it's very important that you recognize when you do need to get out the house, you do need to do a bit of socializing, you do need to go, I don't know, go bowling with your friends, even though you're scared that you're gonna look dumb bowling because you haven't bowled in forever. You know, you need to recognize the difference between hiding from the world and taking a much needed break to yourself. With all that being said, this leads me in to talk about the heart chakra, which is the chakra that is very much connected to this type of experience. This back and forth balance between having the self-love to take time for yourself or put yourself first and starting to hide or build a wall against the world are all closely correlated with your heart chakra. When you are giving way too much of yourself at the expense of your own well-being and not enforcing healthy boundaries, this can throw our heart chakra out of balance. But on the flip side, if you have become afraid of giving any of yourself to anyone, then you've become fearful of caring for others too much, fearful of your own sensitivity, seeing it as a flaw, and you have now decided to become a cold-shouldered hermit in the world. This is also the result of throwing the heart chakra out of balance. Now, the reason I mention this too is because this can start to manifest whenever we have out of balance chakras, and whenever we have damaged chakras, they can start to manifest as physical ailments. So for the heart chakra specifically, you can start to experience this blockage in the heart chakra as things like anxiety, irregular heart beating, irregular breathing, and this can all manifest into issues with anxiety, panic attacks, etc., everything under that umbrella. It's no wonder that so many people who identify as an empath or an HSP actually have issues with anxiety, and therefore that is connected back to the heart chakra. For me specifically, I started to notice that I was having these weird chest pains, and sometimes it would feel weird around this area, and sometimes I still experience this, and I had to lay off of some physical things that made it worse, such as caffeine. If you could relate to any of the physical issues I just said and you think that your heart chakra might be blocked or out of balance, then you're probably wondering, well, okay, that's cool. Now, like, how do I heal it? So let me tell you, there are many ways to heal the chakras and physical ailments, and I am no professional in doing so. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I am not a health expert or anything. I am literally just speaking from my own experience, from my own education, from the things that I have read and I have learned and that have worked for me. So do not take this as professional advice, just advice from one friend to another. Anyways, Number one, allow yourself to feel your emotions. As an empath or HSP, many of you probably relate to being told that you're way too sensitive, taking something too personally, being too dramatic, that you're weak for being emotional, etc., causing you to grow up with insecurity around something that actually makes you a rare, special human on this planet. So rather than feeling ashamed or embarrassed about these emotions that other people made you feel ashamed of as you grew up or into your adulthood, whatever your situation is, instead of suppressing them because you think it's a sign of weakness, being dramatic, etc., let yourself feel those emotions. If you need to cry, let yourself cry until there are literally 0 physical tears left to come from your body. Let yourself scream into your pillow until you cannot scream anymore. Let yourself punch a punching bag as much as you need to punch the punching bag if needed, like your life depends on it, like you are literally fighting that punching bag to the death, if that's what's gonna make you feel better. Those physical emotions, everything that manifests within us, also has to manifest physically. Energy, all energy is matter that cannot be erased. It cannot just disappear. So when those emotions form, that is movement in our bodies that needs to be released. It has to be released in some way or else it stays stuck within the body. Therefore, you end up with a whole bunch of blockages within your body, your energetic body, that end up turning into physical ailments and physical dangers for yourself. How many times have you heard of somebody who has a perfectly healthy body? And obviously there can be many other reasons too, that they are perfectly healthy yet suffer from a heart attack or suffer from something like that. But how many times have you heard of somebody who is seemingly healthy, seemingly takes care of themselves, eats really good and whatever, but they still suffered from a physical ailment? A lot of times this is because they have not released energy blockages. Energy blockages are something in medicine that we have just done away with because of focusing so much on the practical, physical reality rather than the emotional and spiritual reality of things as well. So let your emotions out. And I just want to say that this is going to take time and patience. You know, the first time that you feel like you just want to burst into tears, you probably will naturally suppress it because that's what you've been doing. So just be patient and gentle with yourself when it comes to this process. It took me time too, and something I'm still working on. It may be a lifelong journey for all of us. I mean, and that's okay, because the whole point of life is to become fulfilled, become your best self. And as humans, we love the pursuit of stuff. We love the pursuit of something. It gives us meaning. So just embrace the pursuit of your happiest, most fulfilled self by working with your emotions. Just start practicing releasing them when you feel them and not being so embarrassed and ashamed. The other thing you can do to help heal your heart chakra is regularly do physical practices that can help open and align your heart chakra. Although spiritual tools are never necessary, they can help reinforce whatever it is that you're trying to heal or act on. So for the heart chakra specifically, some things that can help open or balance yours are having rose quartz present. You can wear rose quartz, keep it in your personal space, carry it with you, or hold it during meditations. You can wear the color green or add more green elements to your environment. Green is the color associated with the heart chakra. So adding more of this color can help reinforce the presence of a healthy heart chakra in your everyday life. Or you can dab essential oils on you regularly or diffuse them into your environment regularly. Some of the essential oils that empower the heart chakra are rose oil, bergamot, lemongrass, and lavender oil. The second primary piece of advice I have for you if you identify as an empath or HSP is to start doing activities that bring you joy and boost your confidence. Many times empaths are taking on everyone else's baggage and sometimes losing sight of who they are or what they want. HSPs can often feel insecure, shy, or introverted naturally, making them hide who they truly are and potentially hold themselves back because of this. Therefore, it's more important than ever for these individuals to let loose and have fun while also challenging themselves little by little to step outside of their comfort zone. Stepping outside of the comfort zone does not have to be as scary as it sounds. I know, as somebody who can relate to you guys watching this, I know that it can sound really scary, but take baby steps. Like stepping outside your comfort zone can mean literally just leaving the house and doing something like going to a cafe that you like and going there to watch YouTube videos or to do your work, do your schoolwork, whatever it is that you have. Just go hang out at the cafe for a bit. That way you go interact with a human at the register. You get to go be in a social environment and just chill. You get to have a nice cup of coffee or tea or whatever it is that you like. And just doing something like that can do so much to breathe fresh life into you, fresh inspiration, fresh energy. So it doesn't have to be something super dramatic. Now, if that's something that you got covered, you like that's not that challenging to you, then yeah, do something a little bit more, I guess, daring if you feel up to it. But whatever it is for you that is outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself to do that. Like maybe you need to try some new food. Maybe you need to go to a gym and work out. Maybe you need to go to a dance class, like whatever it is, it's very important to challenge yourself to do things that you enjoy and love. And a lot of times as an empath or HSP, we hold ourselves back from doing these things because we have become hypersensitive to what other people are going to think, what our environment's going to be like, etc. But no matter what, you will figure it out. I believe in you, just like I had to believe in myself that I will figure it out. If it ends up being an environment you don't like, don't go back, find a new one. There are so many possibilities in life. You can't write off the conclusion. You can't assume you know what's going to happen in every situation. So don't be afraid to venture out. And this will boost your confidence, I promise you, just like it boosted mine. Speaking about all this, I want to talk about the chakras that are very much related to confidence and creating things we love, which is the root and the sacral chakra. The struggle to embody your true self and live life the way that you want to live is heavily connected to our root and sacral chakra. The root chakra correlates strongly with our physical self, such as confidence, physical vitality, and passion, whereas the sacral is more so your emotional connection to your passions and vitality. So when you're living life stagnant and insecure, this is a direct sign of these chakras being damaged or out of balance. If this chakra is balanced, you have a natural drive and embody your passions every day through the way that you carry yourself, how you dress, how you act, what you create, etc. Some potential physical manifestations of these chakras being out of balance, and again, I'm not a health expert or I'm not an expert with the chakras, but these are just some things I know can be related to these chakras showing up as physical issues, is through digestive disorders, eating disorders, some type of reproductive disorders. If you have a lot of issues with your reproductive system, or say your menstrual cycle is very, very, very out of balance and very chaotic, things like that can be heavily connected to damaged root and sacral chakras, because those chakras are our lower chakras down here and they control that whole region of the body. All of these physical issues can be linked back to emotional issues such as depression, having a lacking, insecure mindset, and all of those relate back to the root chakra. How do you begin trying to heal and empower your root and sacral chakras? Number one, pick up creative activities that you love. We often forget that having hobbies and activities that we do regularly simply for pure enjoyment are extremely important to our well-being. Both of these chakras are heavily connected to the raw life force and the creation that comes from that life force. So every human has some form of creative activity that they enjoy doing, from music to painting to dancing. Whatever that is for you, make time for these activities on a regular basis, because these will help reignite that spark of inspiration and joy within you that is so vital to living your happiest life. Number two, do things that build your confidence. This will obviously look different for everybody, but taking the time to do whatever it is that makes you feel more empowered and confident will be a game changer to the way that you live your life. Some ideas for doing this are taking the time to care for yourself every day through a good skincare routine or shower routine. Instead of rushing through them and viewing them as a task, use them as a time to pamper yourself and know that you're doing something good and nourishing for yourself. Or perhaps you're the type of person to literally just wear the same thing 24/7. You just roll out of bed, You maybe brush your hair, put your hair up, whatever it is, and then you just call it a day. You're good to go. And you know, I'm all for empowering yourself by being confident in your own skin, you know, but most likely if you're looking like that, then you probably don't really plan to ever leave the house unless you're running to the convenience store. So, but even though, you know, 100% if you're comfortable in your bare skin, that's awesome. If you're comfortable going out in pajamas, you're confident still, that's awesome. But a lot of times these are reflections of not being truly confident or not really caring to actually take care of yourself. And this is something that I also struggled with recently, and I will be talking about this more in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. But I highly recommend you, if you are like this, to at least change your clothes. At least change your clothes, even if it's just a simple white tee with some nicer jeans or some, you know, nicer shorts or leggings with like a nice cardigan over the top or a nice, you know, plaid button up or something, just something. It can be casual, but also a little bit elevated so you feel more put together. Make sure you wash your face, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but just clean up your face a little bit, you know, like brush out your eyebrows and curl your eyelashes to open up your eyes and add a little bit of blush or add a little bit of lip gloss. Like, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just do something to elevate yourself for the day. And that really does do a number on your confidence, not just every day in the short term, but in the long term as well. It makes you want to take care of yourself better, because the more or the less that you take care of yourself every day and the more that you allow yourself to just roll out of bed and call it a day, the more and more you unconsciously fall down a black hole of lacking confidence. And I fell down that black hole. But again, I will talk about that more in a future video. If you want to see that video, be sure you're giving this one a like and subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss out on that video in the future. But not only when it comes to your physical expression is important, but also doing activities that connect you back to your physical body is very important as well. A lot of times, one of the reasons we allow ourselves to lose confidence or not take care of ourselves and kind of fall off is because we're not connected to our body. We've lost connection to our body, and therefore we've lost respect for it. We forgot how important it is and how much it does for us every day. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Once again, baby steps, but just doing things that reconnect you to your body, such as stretching, yoga, weightlifting, dancing, whatever it is physically that you enjoy doing, start doing that. Even if it's just walking, really start getting in tune and getting to know your body better again. Because the more that you are in tune with your body, the more confident the stronger your relationship becomes with your body. Therefore, you start to respect it and love it even more, therefore boosting your confidence. Third, physical things that can help open and align your chakras will also help, such as keeping crystals around you or on you, such as garnet, ruby, obsidian, black tourmaline, moonstone, citrine, or tiger's eyes. These are all great stones and crystals for the root and sacral chakras. You can wear red and orange or add more of these colors into your environment. Or you can dab some essential oils that are related to the root and sacral chakra or diffuse them into your environment, such as jasmine oil, ginger oil, citrus, and cinnamon oil. These are all great common oils connected to these chakras. The third primary piece of advice I have for you, if you're an HSP or an empath, is to begin voicing your truth and setting clear, healthy boundaries. Oftentimes as an empath or HSP, you became afraid of speaking up or setting boundaries because you often naturally want to please others, care for others before yourself, or are afraid of what might happen if you do speak up. Therefore, in order to start feeling more empowered and fulfilled in your life as an empath or HSP, you have to practice speaking up for yourself and communicating your own truth to others. Here are some of the ways that I began healing my own throat chakra, and hopefully you can too. Number 1, allow yourself to at least begin communicating your thoughts with yourself through journaling. It is undeniably difficult to communicate effectively with others, but being open and honest with yourself is equally as important. One of the best ways to organize your thoughts and stay in touch with yourself is through regularly journaling. As an HSP or an empath, I already know you can relate to the feeling of overthinking and over feeling all the time. And you just can't help it, right? And this leads you to feeling easily overwhelmed in many situations that honestly should not feel that overwhelming if we, are taking care of ourselves. So journaling can provide a really healthy channel to unload your energetic space, to really release a lot of weight that you always carry around in your energetic space because of feeling everything times 1,000 and thinking and overthinking times 1,000 all the time. But not only that, it can really help you make sense of why you're overfeeling and why you're overthinking and what is it about those situations. And you can start to notice patterns within yourself. You can start to notice where it is that you become most vulnerable. And having that conversation with yourself and having that open channel with yourself is honestly the first thing you should be doing before you're able to set healthy boundaries with other people. You need to know yourself first. You need to have that confidence in yourself. A lot of times when we're thinking about being an empath or HSP, we're thinking about everything outside of us that affects us. But honestly, everything begins with ourselves. So really taking on journaling and using that as a way to conversate with your own mind and your own emotions can make a powerful impact. Number 2, regularly practice your breathing and begin speaking up when you feel the need to. Breathing practices are an amazing way to begin opening the passageways through your throat chakra, which are also vital for your heart chakra as well. Helping to bring fresh energy to the physical areas connected to each chakra are just as important to realigning them and opening them again as spiritual practices are. Alongside this, when you have the natural urge to speak up and say something, start practicing doing so. And just like when I said getting outside of your comfort zone doesn't have to be so dramatic, this doesn't have to start so dramatic either. I'm not saying that you should go up to your boss at work and tell them that they're a jerk.
You're a jerk.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's just being a rude person, first off. But no, what I mean by this is speak your opinion. So for example, say you're at a restaurant and the waitress has a necklace that you think is really cute. Most people are not opposed to compliments, and most people really appreciate compliments, whether they show it or not. So there is nothing harmful about just letting the waitress or waiter, whoever it is, know that their necklace is really cute or their necklace is really pretty. So if you see the necklace and you think, oh, that's so cute, let them know. Say, oh, hey, by the way, your necklace is really pretty. And most likely they're gonna really appreciate it, or they're just gonna ignore it because, some people are just mean. And that's something that we cannot help, and we should not live in fear because of those people. Just saying. Often just the thought of doing something as small as complimenting somebody's necklace can trigger so much fear inside of us if you are an empath or an HSP. So when you start to feel that little bit of fear, and the more that you start to challenge that fear by actually acting on the thing that you're scared of, the more that you're going to become unafraid to do those things in the future. And therefore, that's going to domino into even bigger things, such as not staying in a job you don't want, not staying in a relationship you don't want, etc. Now, as for some of the physical objects that can help open and align the throat chakra, some crystals that you can keep on yourself or in your environment are aquamarine, lapis lazuli, and sapphire. You can also wear more blue, specifically lighter hues of blue, to enhance the throat chakra, because this is the color associated with the throat chakra. And some oils that you can diffuse in your environment or dab on your body are chamomile oil, lavender oil, and sandalwood oil. I didn't go into my life story or anything, and I don't plan to because it would be a long video, but just know that all of these pieces of advice come straight from the heart and straight from the personal experience I've had living life as a highly sensitive person, and at times thought I was an empath as well. The line is very fine between the two. So if you identify as an empath or an HSP, then leave a comment down below letting me know what you identify as and what your thoughts are, or if there's any practices that maybe you've practiced yourself that have helped you empower your own life. And if this video helped you, be sure you leave a thumbs up, especially leave a thumbs up if you want to see my future video about self-love, because if I get more likes, then I know that you guys really want it, and then I'll make it. And be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell before you leave. You can also check out my Patreon, where I release weekly horoscopes. I do a monthly Q&A video and all types of fun stuff over there. So be sure you check that out. For a more personal side of my journey and some more fun content, you can head to my Instagram at Marisa LaBlue, and you can watch these videos until I release my next one, because they'll help you even more on your astrological and spiritual journey. But until I see you in my next video, thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.